There you go.
People have to talk around this issue. I find this to be so funny. I see a lot of people trying to talk around this and like not really address the elephant in the room.
And the elephant in the room, supposedly, well, it is not supposedly. The elephant in the room is that all these major CEOs are being taken by people of Indian descent. And in America, there's a large group of people who voted for Trump for the illegal immigration, and they're putting all of that in one basket. I'm like, no, illegal immigration and having immigrants come in and try to strive to be the top 1%, two different kinds of people.
Because it's like not popular to say and not popular to get into. But I do think that this is a big, big factor.
I think it is revealed that there is some elasticity in the party on its ability to debate the immigration issue. Certainly there are hardliners on immigration who have supported Donald Trump. He himself has been a hardliner, but he has also said repeatedly, publicly, that he wants immigration reform, that he wants to do something for the Dreamers. He has also talked about the need for people to come in.
Yeah, when we're talking about illegal immigration, you got to get into the mindset it's only the people we're talking about who are crossing the border illegally. And maybe sure want to like inspire of like a good life, but then do that legally. I want the people who are doing it legally who are striving to be at the top 1%. I want America to be the land of the free, the land of the home, and the home of the brave, and where meritocracy, the best of the best, that's who rises to the top.
To the country to do certain kinds of things. And then you have these other new supporters of Donald Trump who understand that if you're just recruiting like the top 0.1% of the best and most talented, say engineers from around the world, that's probably a good thing. I think where there's great alignment is on the need to eliminate the fraud in the program. And I think some of these visa programs are being used to bring people in for no other reason than to displace American workers and to do things more cheaply.
If you go through the process, I'm sure you can.
I think
That's what a lot of people think.
Common ground and the way forward is
Yep.
bringing the people who are the goats, of engineering from around the world. Bring those people here.
Yeah.
And then focus on American workers, American students.
That's exactly what I said.
Everything else.
Yep.
And that would be a good blend of how I think this is going to move forward.
I think that's a healthy, balanced approach.
That might be the case, but Laura Loomer is saying don't bring Indians into America. I mean, she's pretty clear about what she's
I don't know if she's watched many Bollywood movies, but not only are they very good, but they're actually a lot more modest than Hollywood films. So that comment was a little bit off base, but I think what we're calling the tech right versus the MAGA right is really a long-standing split in the Republican Party between libertarians and conservatives. The Republican Party has been holding together those two groups for a long time, and they agree on about 70–80% of stuff. This is a thing they've always disagreed on. Libertarians value economic growth and efficiency and free markets above all else. Conservatives go halfway there, but at the end of the day, will side with protecting American workers from foreign competition. So, you have to give credit to Donald Trump.
I gotta say, I think that it's good to protect American workers from foreign competition. I agree with him. I do. I think it's the right decision.
Yeah.
It's just like basically, if you have people coming in from the other parts of the world doing a job for way less, driving down wages of everyone, the only people that really come out ahead there are the people that own these companies.
He's not wrong.
The average person, the average Joe doesn't come out ahead. I think that a good example is like you look at like all of the amount of money that people have gained from like, after the like little recession that we've had. Almost all of that money is consolidated in the top 1% of people.
Yeah, because they're the only ones who have the capital to actually go in and play the free market. And in order to play the free market, you got to have money to play the free market. If you don't got no money, it's going to be a very hard, slow grind up. It's not impossible, but it's way easier if you got money to make money.
So this whole idea that this is better for the economy, it might be better for the economy, but it's not better for the population. It's things that are good on paper, but not necessarily good for an individual.
And what's the biggest issue here in America is that the education level, most people are not financially literate enough to understand how to budget, how to DCDA into different funds, and how to actually grow their wealth. And hell, even if you do that, with inflation and the value of the dollar just depreciating hand over fist, it's not like you really can make much gains, but it's once more one of these things you just have to trust the process and do a 10, 20-year plan of just DCDAing into a couple different things that you really do appreciate. But that's that's different than what we're talking about here.
It's like, well, look how much money is in the economy. Well, it doesn't matter how much, like what this number says when you can't afford food because you can't get a job.
Yeah, this is where they were saying like the polls are like the food and inflation is only up 7%, but everyone feels it's like, no, food's actually up. It feels like 25-30%. I don't care what the economics say, you know, like global economy or just the United States economy. I care about what is gas like? What is it like going to the grocery store? Do I have enough money to take my friends and family out to like do fun activities with? That's what we really care about.
That's the issue. It's better for companies? Yeah, exactly. Exactly what you're saying is what's happening in Canada. I don't know about Canada. Canada is
a wild place now.
Is Canada even real?
Canada's fault.
Who knows?
Canada's going through like a buggy patch right now. The devs need to go in there and fix it and kind of do some balance patching in Canada because it is wild right now.
For holding those two coalitions together throughout the entire
the devs really need to work on
it.
That's right.
Didn't actually come to light until after they won. And now you're seeing it.
Yeah.
So where did the significant contingent of ethno-nationalists fall within the conservatism and libertarianism frame? I mean, to me, that doesn't necessarily fit within either of those two. Yeah. And I think it is
It absolutely does. And it's a huge component of it. It's a massive component of it. The problem is mainstream media has to talk around it because the Overton window hasn't shifted enough. But this absolutely is what the main focus is. Absolutely.
And the Overton window is an idea that you may hold that you don't publicly say because publicly individuals might not agree or may agree with it, but as a whole, like the mind virus has not yet shifted to that area, that way of thinking.
People can't say it.
Significant thing within the MAGA coalition, but it also, this debate reveals something broader. You've got, I think, a very incoherent MAGA coalition for years now, where you've got business elites driving the policy discussion, setting the policy agenda, as working class people are oftentimes getting screwed. I mean, the top priority for this incoming administration is going to be tax cuts for the wealthy. And we now see this conversation about immigration not even taking shape the way that white working class people thought it would.
So, if I may ask a question, Madison, so you think working class people have been screwed by the immigration policy of the last 4 years where people are coming into the country and displacing American workers?
No, so I don't agree with the framing of that, actually.
Well, I'm just asking because you said it. I
no, I didn't.
How they're being screwed.
No, I didn't. I said white working class people are being screwed by the Republican Party, whose top priority is...
I love Scott Jennings. He is based AF. He's not right 100% of the times, but 80% of the time, he's going to leave you like this, just like, I don't know. That was kind of it.
Tax cuts for billionaires and for billion-dollar corporations.
But you would agree that the flood of immigration has also screwed working class people.
Opposing minimum wage increases, opposing universal child care, and efforts to expand health care.
We're talking about immigration.
But hang on, if I may, but Scott,
if I may,
I mean, I actually think we're veering way off course here because
are we?
The thing that Donald Trump apparently ran on predominantly is stopping the flow of illegal immigration into the country. When we talk about H-1B visas, we're talking about 85,000 a year of legal immigrants. Okay, legal immigrants. So
who are striving to come into this country to get educated, to try to better themselves. Like the H-1B one, I think is so low on the priority list that we don't need to focus on that. The big issue is the hundreds of thousands of people crossing the border illegally. Focus on that, not these H-1B visas.
There are plenty of Republicans.
These people are so stupid.
Agreed. So stupid. And yet they're the ones who are on TV spewing their nonsense. I mean, we're reacting to a reaction to a reaction of a reaction.
The reason why people
I call that a motherfucking chain reaction.
Or oppose illegal immigration is because they can't oppose legal immigration. They don't like that either. But they can't say that. So they just talk about illegal immigration instead. Come on, dude. No, I'm being serious. I think that's a huge factor. I think it's a mega factor. And it's way bigger than a lot of people realize. Yeah, it is a huge factor.
Do we care about people moving from another country into this country at any level? I don't know. I really don't know. My last name's Rodriguez, so maybe I'm a little biased. But yeah, I don't know.
The silent majority is silent on a lot of racist shit. they're also silent on a lot of homophobic shit too. Like, and you can see this play out when you actually see candidates that are gay run for office. The problem is, in a capitalist society, you better be prepared to lose your job compared to someone who's willing to do it for less pay.
I just think I think it's not so much about gay or racism. I think it's about people falling into different stereotypes, right? And then people within those communities being like just only self-interest and not caring about anything else.
Okay.
Wait, weren't they against Trump when he was against immigrants, and now that he wants them in, they're all staying against Trump? Such hypocrisy. I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that, but yeah, I think with Trump got elected, right, and now he's putting in Kash Patel, Sharam, the AI guy. We have Vivek Ramaswamy in here. There's a lot of Indians who are taking high-level positions of not only power in politics, but they're also doing it in like the Tech Valley with the CEO of Microsoft, Google, Apple. Like, we can go on and on and on. So people were like, I thought when Trump was getting in, he was gonna kick all the illegal immigrants out. Why are they getting in here for positions of power? Their last name ain't John Doe, Smith, Johnson, Richard. I don't know them. I don't trust them. Right? So that's where the logic of this is coming from. When most, I would like to think I kind of fall in the middle, that most people don't care about immigration so long that you're coming into this country because you're pro-America, right? You like the idea of America. 2, you're trying to come in here and be a part of the community. Bring some of the cool stuff a part of your community too, because Americans like learning about different cultures. But it's when you like oppress it and force it and say this is better than that, a little much. And then when you're trying to come in and like get like boost yourself, like boost you and the community around you. No one cares. Like, that's good. We want that. We don't want is a bunch of young middle-aged guys coming over here who are not pro-America, who are very much against America, who are coming over here illegally, killing or like taking lives, doing other things that I can't really say on YouTube, but you know what I mean?
Well, I'm just...
If the talent stays in India, that would be best for the Indian economy. But if U.S. stops immigrants, then they will go to some other places like Europe and some other countries like Japan or Korea. More likely Japan and Korea for sure. I think the government should stop taking these deep steps with people and let the left be dumb.
I'm just saying, right? There's somebody who's mad. You mad? What is this? Tough is not crack. What is this here? So you're subscribe. Why'd you subscribe to the stream if you're mad? Let's die with die on our feet instead of a boot on our neck. So we've got a revolutionary. We got a revolutionary, baby. What does he say? Who am I shilling for?
You're a legit loser.
I'm not sure who it is.
You're a legit loser that got lucky. Yikes. Aren't we all, though? Isn't anybody who's successful just some loser who got lucky? I got fucking super lucky hanging out with you guys and having a small community. People where I know where I go live, people are going to come in here and hang out with me. I got lucky. And I'm also a loser.
You tell us?
I try not to be a loser. I fear that every day. I wake up thinking I'm a loser, so I try to take actions to make myself feel like not a loser. But in some, we're all losers. So if anyone succeeds and gets winning, if they become a winner, it's because they got lucky. And that's okay.
What? What?
Yes, sir.
No, I mean,
yeah,
but
you know what I'm saying?
You have 2 masks on.
Like,
well, what?
If somebody's successful, they should be happy.
Okay,
because there's so many other people who do all the work, who do all the stuff,
what are they?
and it still never
where this
happens.
Guy's coming from at all.
It takes a stroke of luck. You have to be ready to take the opportunity. Like, you got to be able to put the work in the dark.
Explain it. Wow, you know, guys, this never happens. It never happens when there's a shit talking retard in chat, and then the moment
everything's okay. We just got to live. True. It's fun to like. So like with mental fitness, I'm gonna be. I'll tell you this at the end of it. Remind me of this. I'll bring this up at the end of the video.
That they get pulled up to say what they want to say, well then now they don't have anything to say. What a surprise. Yeah, I would have. Your mods are deleting my messages. Yeah, I guess they are. What an idiot. Anyway, so yeah. I think this is really what the truth is, though, is that a lot of people are doing it based on racial grounds.
right now who are waging an internal war within their party,
You gotta go.
not about
Later.
illegal immigration, not about millions of illegal immigrants, but about fewer than 100,000 legal immigrants a year. I mean, I think that is what is catching people.
I think we should look about immigration after the rise of nationalism in 1987 or in 1789. God, my dyslexia kicked in. Can you break that down a little more for me?
Off guard.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely, we can. It'll have to be a little bit because I got to go to the gym here in a bit. I got time to work out.
Of legal immigrants. I mean, his wife's a legal immigrant. He's expressed this sentiment many times. You look at Elon Musk being a great example of someone who came here on an H-1B visa himself. And so I think this is very important that we continue to have the H-1B visas. We want to be competitive in the global economy. But the reality is, and President Trump has also talked about this on many occasions, we don't want to see.
I don't see that logic. I mean, are other countries that are competitive in the global economy importing in a bunch of people from like other countries to do things? Like, I don't know.
I'm sure there's some.
I really don't know the answer.
I'm sure there's some level of like cross migration over in Europe. It's so much easier to.
Answer to that.
I'm sure that immigration is probably seen as a vastly different thing over in Europe. Excuse me, and over in the East.
I feel like like I don't know about it. China. Is China doing that?
People coming here, being educated in our institutions, being that top 0.01% that Elon Musk or that Scott mentions earlier in engineering or in other fields, and being sent to work for Chinese companies or being sent to work for these other companies. And so we want to make sure that we can continue to have those people coming here, working here, and helping us grow, which helps American workers. But at the same time, we've seen a lot of issues with the H-1B visas. We've seen these workers exploited and American workers hurt in this process. And so I think there's a lot of things and a lot of questions that are coming up in this debate that are legitimate questions. And so I think on both sides, there is a lot of positive coming out of this. And I think it's something that needs to be hashed out, not just by Republicans, but by people across the country.
I think it's obviously, it's a good debate, but I do question this idea that
I think she thinks it's a good debate because it's right on that IQ level.
when we're talking about the scale of this particular immigrant visa program, whether you're actually really talking about something that, you were talking about harm to American workers, that is happening on a scale that is far greater than the H-1B program. I think you have to acknowledge that.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, we like the percentage of people in the country now that are foreign born is the highest it's been in over a century.
That's why people are mad. That's the reason. That's the reason. People might not say that's the reason, but that's the reason.
Because people are mad because immigrants are coming over here, having kids, and then getting naturalized or national citizenship, which I think Trump is going to crack down against. I don't know how I feel about that one. I think that's just a part of immigration, right? I don't know.
Yep.
Not an H-1B visa problem. That's a southern border problem. So that's really, if not 99%, at least 90% of the immigration problem.
I think they're wrong. There are multiple races in India. What do you mean? This isn't just, they're not just talking about Indians coming in. I brought up that because Indians right now are the CEOs of most of major tech companies in Silicon Valley. We got Kash Patel, we got the AI guy with Shahram coming in being the oversight of AI. We get Vivek Ramaswamy working hand in hand with Elon. Those are all top 1%ers. Of course, I love America. I want the top 1% of America to come here, and I want the best to succeed. I want meritocracy to reign supreme here.
Trump, if you recall, actually, when Trump went on the All In podcast, which is the most popular podcast on the tech right,
by a lot of immigrants on that podcast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mostly immigrants on that podcast. Yeah. Successful tech entrepreneur immigrants. Yeah. They asked him right at the beginning of the podcast, this H-1B thing, are you for that? And Trump said, you know what, I think that is a good idea. I think we need to bring those people. But after that podcast, he had to walk those
before 1789, people just moved from here to there, and they didn't have a sentiment from their country. So they thought that this was my country and my people's land. That's why we should care about it. After 1789, the French Revolution nations began to form a sense of belonging to the land and the people. So this point is where it comes to mix with their culture and immigrants.
Comments back, but he was able to manage that during the campaign.
My
but
chat's
now
so
that
smart.
they've won, this
you guys
is
are so
a deep
smart.
fissure within the party.
But Richie Torres wrote this: the far-right backlash against Indian immigrants confirms what we in the Democratic Party have long known.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Here we go.
Yikes.
That the far right is implacably hostile to all forms of non-European immigrants, regardless of legal status. It's not about status, it's about race.
I was going to ask how the movie was, but if it was asked, what was the movie?
The far right prefers purity
You watch
over
Liger?
prosperity.
That's totally false. And I think on these...
With Mike
I
Tyson?
don't think it is false. I don't. I think that there's a massive contingency of people that do care about that. And they,
Do I think Vivek can be president in 2028? No, I don't think he can, to be honest. Unless something drastic happens, unless he and Elon do such a fantastic job with Doge, I think there is, as we could see, we got guys over here, Nicholas Fuentes, who have an idea that India is still on the caste system just because he's saying, I don't really care about the economy that much. I just don't want to live in a country that looks like India. And he's thinking about those crazy Indian, like village street foods where it's just kind of craziness, but not looking at like the Gift City or Delaria or whatnot. You think they're wrong? There's multiple races in India. Yes. Am I being racist? No, I'm not. But some of these people on here, absolutely.
I do. It's about power. It is. And I think that a lot of people view it. So when I've read a lot.
Once more, Nick Fuentes is only looking at India, the worst parts of India, and saying he doesn't want America to look like it. But we could do the same exact thing. If we go to parts of Chicago, if we go to parts of Atlanta, where I'm at, we go to parts of Atlanta, the Skid Row in California, there's a whole section called Skid Row. Look it up. If we look at America just at that place and assume that that was all of America, no one would want to come to America, right? So every country is going to have its highs and its lows. It's insane.
A lot of the discourse about this, I've seen a lot of people saying that basically these other minority groups are exercising own group privilege and own group preference, where they're giving advantages to other people that are part of their racial group.
That's where the
I think that there's a lot.
That's where the fear comes in, where if I'm just going to use Hispanics. If Hispanics came in and took all the top 1% jobs, American people who last name was Smith, Richard, Johnson, they would be fearful that if they didn't have a last name of Rodriguez, Sanchez, Fernando, Guadalupe, that they might not be able to actually get a job in that field.
A lot of white people that are.
Do you want Trump to take power illegally for the next 12 years? Absolutely not. No. After this election, I would like to see Tulsi with probably like JD or Vivek. A Tulsi, Vivek, president, vice president. I don't care which is which. Tulsi can be president, Vivek VP, Vivek president, Tulsi VP. I'd be down with that.
I think that they are feeling a degree of anxiety about that.
Exactly.
Because they're worried that if there's enough of them, then they're going to lose their power structure, right? They're going to lose their
absolutely.
They're like and like their existence, right? Basically, right?
Yeah.
I don't know like really what the word is for it. Basically, power structure is probably the best word to look at it. And so
I love RFK. RFK has made it a professional career of fixing the economy and fixing health. Please stay on that. Just like how Dr. John J. Shukra, the foreign prime minister, how he could be a good, or the foreign minister or the chief minister on foreign policies, I believe. He's fantastic at the job. I wouldn't want him to replace Modi because now you got to have two people to replace. You know what I mean? Josh Shanker, you know what I mean?
Bro, you've been contradictory here.
But I heard he was against the vaccination.
Guys, if you want to make an argument, you have to just make the argument. You don't have to tell me that I'm wrong. You can say why I'm wrong. I don't want to hear you're wrong. But anyway, so identity. Well, yeah, exactly, right. And
Jay Shanker.
So I think this is a huge contingency that a lot of people have. And so if you don't have a, I think that there are so many people that feel this way that this will be a massive force to be reckoned with. And I think that, again, like this goes back to what I was saying with like immigration, because I think that people actually did want to do the mass deportations in 2016 and separate families and not give a fuck and take away the, was it 14th Amendment?
Yeah.
I think they absolutely did want to do that then, but they weren't able to say it because it wasn't socially acceptable. But now it's more socially acceptable.
So people are willing to go and take that risk and be like, separate the families, get rid of them.
Like, how many of you guys, for example, that were in favor of mass deportations then?
Once more, the illegal immigrants is what we should be focused on, not the ones who are trying to go through the program to get into this country. What are we doing here?
Are saying it now, but you couldn't then. We're talking about culture, not race. They're talking about both. Yeah, they're talking about both. Like, I understand, like, yeah, culture and race are different for sure. What I'm saying is that for a massive contingency of people,
because it also borders China, so I'm sure
they are talking about both of them. And if people can't realize that, and I think this is the problem right now that, like, media is running into, is that they can't accurately...
Well, how about a ban on Islam in the USA? That one's hard, because my gut says yes, but I don't know if I want government intervention in something like that, because I also know that, like, Islam is not the problem, because I know there's some people who follow that religion who are very nice people, care about the community, want to do good, but it's the extremists that do bad. And then I look at Christianity and I look at the extremists over there and I like the Christian Crusades and everything along those lines too. It's like, I don't know how to answer that question. I don't think another person should be able to ban that type of stuff. I think good education, good debate, good communication, and a positive community will kind of work those problems out.
Assess and approach the perspective that people like, let's say, Nick Fuentes have, because nobody is willing to play that devil's advocate because of the optics. But the problem is that those people, I think that what will happen is that those people will just become more and more extreme. So you don't know? Yeah, exactly. In his tweet, he's talking about culture, not...
So basically, extremists are the problem? Yeah. Going to the extreme of anything, because when you're going to the extreme, normally that means that you have blinders up, blinders to the hypocrisy of whatever religion you subscribe to, because they all have hypocrisy in it, blinders to that, and then blinders to the other parts of the religions have some good things to take from them. Right? Like, if one religion was just all bad, it wouldn't be super popular. But we have like 3 big religions, so we really more than 3, but 3 really big religions: Hinduism, Islam, and Christianity. There's probably something you could take from a little bit of all of them, right?
Not race. I think that he's talking about both. That's my opinion. That's what I think. If you hire an Indian manager, he fires most of the...
What does an extreme Hinduist look like? Like, they take Krishna's law of creation and destruction a little too much, and they think they can destroy and then create? Like,
workers and replaces them with family and friends. It happens. And I think even if that doesn't happen, the perception...
At least you owned up your mistake.
...that it does happen is very illuminating. Because I think that it gives people it gives you a frame of reference for what people have anxiety for. They have anxiety for...
Bro, let's face it. The truth is now the USA doesn't have good engineers, and that's why many of us need good Indian tech engineers. I want to push back on this a little bit. My dad, I'm very biased when it comes to this because I'm looking at a sample size of 1. My dad, I think, is a perfect example of why I disagree with this. We have plenty of crafty, smart, ingenuitive men in America who can do great things, right? My dad, I could talk on some accolades. My dad was the first employee in his company. Literally, R&D, he himself developed a satellite that goes on top of planes. Commercial planes use all the time. My dad is one of the guys, the guy who created it for one of those companies, right? Sold for millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? My dad didn't see a cent of any of that, by the way. None. Even though he and his boss apparently get in great relationships, I'm like, Dad, you hooked that man up with millions of dollars. You didn't even get one of the millions? You got a paid dinner? Whatever. We're not going to talk about that. But the issue is my dad never went higher, right? And it's not, I'm not saying that he should have gone and chased that corporate ladder. That's not what he wanted to do, but he was not inspired to do so. And when talking to my dad, there's so many times, especially in corporate America and in landscape now, and we could look at this with the Atul Sabash case, where it's just like the laws and regulations are against men to succeed. If you're going to be a high performing man, you have to be the highest of performing men. You can't slow down, you can't look at anything else, and you almost have to be able to dance in the gray because the laws and regulations are set up against you. Right? So I think if we can loosen up that and inspire people and motivate people and give people the incentive to be engineers in America, we would have some fantastic engineers, some crazy, crafty, creative ones. But right now, all our incentives is for dudes to kind of turn like little femboys, go online, paint their nails, and just follow the standard quo. You know what I mean?
Not having an own group preference. He's talking around it.
Yeah. Maybe you'd not have that many. True. But I would rather have 100 absolutely nuclear level engineers than 10,000 very good ones, right? I would only want like the 1% of the 1%. I don't need a million of them, right? I only need 100, 1,000 that are the world's very best.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I think they're talking around it. And the reason why I'm saying it is that, like, I think this is like, I've said this before, I think it's kind of silly.
Some of them do.
But I think that the more that you pretend like things like this don't exist, the worse they get. And I think that we've seen this happen now for years, is that the more that you pretend like these extremist viewpoints don't exist, the more extreme they become.
How many great scientists have the USA produced? Not a lot of them, but we recruited a lot. I know of a lot of great scientists that wound up in America, but they were like from Germany, from Argentina, like Project Paperclip, like.
Any of these visa programs, what any Republican ought to be looking for here is, are they being abused? You know, you mentioned the number of people coming in on H-1Bs. I'm pretty sure not all of them were coming here under the auspices of the program as we would want it, meaning.
No, you know what, Koala Gaming, I completely agree. Well, I hate for the future because I see a lot of wars and it's like people are going backwards mentally. I don't know why. Being on the internet, we are more connected than ever before, right? So we should be able to understand each other more, and like people who speak fluent Hindi can speak to me online because online can convert my language to Hindi and Hindi to English so we can communicate. So you would think that we'd be able to reconcile a lot of this confusion, but instead it's like there's more fear-mongering and there's more manipulation than there ever has been.
Are we using it in other visa
That's what I'm saying. Most Americans, that's what I'm like.
Best and brightest engineers. That's the occupation that keeps being thrown out.
Once more, I am just against the illegal immigrants who are coming over here who are against America. I want immigrants who love America, who want the American dream and want to raise a family in America, and I think that's great.
To me, the way forward for Trump is very simple. I want to eliminate the fraud in any of our visa programming. I want to absolutely control the southern border because I think Coleman is right. That's where the major problem is. We can walk and chew gum at the same time here. If we're recruiting top talent from around the world and eliminating all of the illegal immigration at the southern border, my suspicion is everybody would be quite happy with this after the next couple of years.
Not everybody. I think that's the point, Scott. I think you're continuing to.
Yeah. Okay, she's pissing me off. No, you can't make everybody happy. So she's like, yeah, there's going to be a group of people who are not happy with that. Yeah, there's always going to be a group of people who aren't happy. So long that the majority of the country's happy and we're moving in a good direction, the vocal minority who's just going to be yelling and bitching no matter what are just going to yell and bitch.
Ignore that there are plenty of people who are saying
America is not a country but an idea for
immigrants to come to this country, whether they are
meritorious people.
Yeah,
I
think she's actually right. I think Scott can't say it because it's not socially acceptable and it makes him look wrong. But I think that she's right.
I'm not making that up.
Well, we're going to have, look, I hate to.
Because it's not.
Everybody would be quite happy with this after the next couple of years.
Not everybody. I think that's the point, Scott. I think you're continuing to ignore that there are plenty of people who are saying pretty clearly they don't want immigrants to come to this country, whether they are legal or not.
That's crazy.
Disappointed. We're going to have some legal immigration. Trump has said we're going to have some legal immigration, and he's the commander-in-chief, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, no, but I think that it's a much larger percentage than what people believe. And I think that the people that think that's not true, I think you can look at the immigration issue and see the exact same thing happen. Where people only express their viewpoints, their viewpoints are only as extreme as they're allowed to be. But just because somebody pretends like their viewpoints aren't extreme that doesn't mean that they aren't extreme. I find this to be a very interesting, the reason why I'm talking about it, and I've been interested in it, is I actually think that this is a super interesting topic, because I feel like we are at the beginning of this topic becoming popular and this topic becoming a big issue. But I think that a lot of people haven't realized it yet because they don't know where it's coming from.
I think this is a very interesting topic, but I'm genuinely trying to sit here and I'm trying to think of like what is my honest to God opinion on this, and not just like one that I'm trying to spew out on the internet. And I think it's once more, I want America to be a land that inspires the best of the best human beings. I don't care what the fuck you look like. One penis, two balls, one ball, man, woman. I don't care. I just want the best. I want this to be a land that inspires the best of the best to move forward, better the community around them. And when it's time to pass the baton to the next generation, because the next generation is always the most important one, and give them the same opportunities, if not the more opportunities than what you had. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, then please like the video, subscribe, and if you really like it, then share it with some of your friends. My goal here is to spread a positive message while sprinkling my 2 cents on big topics like American, Indian, and world geopolitics, and even small stuff like Twitch drama and online debacles. And if you want to see it live, come join me over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ActuallyElrod. That's where I'm going to do all my reactions, and after the reactions, that's where we get down a game. And if you're like, hey, I have a video that I want this dude to sprinkle his 2 cents on, then come over on my Discord and let me know and join the community there. And while we're at it, I have to say thank you to everybody who has made that Discord just so poppin'. I never thought I'd have a Discord that's so flowing. It's really cool to see. Shout out to you, Bobby, Omni, Demon, all of you who have been in there who are just super active. Logie, you're the man. Logie is the one who's like modding and helping run the server, so thank you, Logie. Lastly, I challenge you. I have a challenge for you. Make somebody laugh today. We all know there's enough hate and vitriol in the world. If energy is contagious like the flu, then let's spread and get everyone contagious with our positive energy, right? Not negative energy, because there's so much of that, and if we could just be a small little change in someone's day, then you never know. Maybe that's the thing that starts shifting this world to a happier, healthier, just better place. And with all of that said and done, thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.